Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. Back in May of 2022, I was living in Seattle, Washington. We were still grappling with the Omicron variant of COVID-19. And I got really concerned because May 13, 2022 was a Friday. And during the pandemic, every time we had a Friday the 13th, we had a spike in COVID cases without fail. And we almost never had a spike without a Friday the 13th. March 13, 2020 was a Friday. COVID began. November 13 of 2020 was a Friday, and it was the second wave of COVID. We had a Delta variant on August 13, 2021, which was a Friday. And now May 13th of 2022 was now going to be a Friday. And I was working at a tutoring center. This was April. I was tutoring statistics students, and I asked him to calculate what the probability, if there were 3 events in 27 months, that all 3 of them would happen on Friday the 13th. And he came up with a really low probability, not surprisingly. I think it was 1 in thousands. And I said, are you worried about, I told him, here's another thing to worry about. There's a lunar eclipse on May 15th, 16th of 2022. And never before during this pandemic did a lunar eclipse coincide with Friday the 13th. And, it's just coincidence. My boss looked at it. He said, come on, 1 in 1,000. You know, I've won lottery tickets that I shouldn't have won that were maybe 1 in 1,000. Come on. Well, the lunar eclipse came. Friday the 13th came. All 3 of us, my boss, the student, and I, all got very sick with COVID-19. And I came back and we recalculated what the probability of 4 such events were. Now it was 1 in 20-some thousand. I asked my student, are you going to believe me now? And here we come. I guess in January of 2023, we had a Friday the 13th, and we didn't have COVID, although we did have RSV and all that nonsense. Well, October 13 of 2023 is a Friday, and there's going to be a solar eclipse. I hope to go see it in New Mexico. I'm so fortunate it's a Saturday. I get the day off to go see it. Friday the 13th with a solar eclipse. And now there's talk about a new variant of COVID. And 1 in 20,000 chance that we're wrong about that Friday the 13th. Now my boss later came up with the theory that people like me go traveling to go see the lunar eclipse caused the COVID-19 spikes. I think going to see a lunar eclipse is probably the safest thing you could do during a pandemic, right? There's not too many people there. It's open air. If anything, lately it's been... I don't like how people idle their cars. I mean, we're talking about the May of 2022 in Seattle. I mean, I can understand if there's a lunar eclipse tonight. It's 90-some degrees here. Yeah, I would maybe appreciate that a little bit better. Even then, get out of your car and outside where it's not sweltering, right? It's just crazy. It's just crazy. All right. We got solar eclipse coming up and potentially another market correction. I hope to buy more... precious metal mining stocks, maybe rare earth mining stocks. This is the Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum.